campus in India really look like beyond solar panels and beyond green facades?
See, when we talk about net zero, the basic concept is consumption versus what you are producing.
Correct.
Whatever you are consuming, let us say water, you are consuming energy, and you're producing some waste. Everything has to be in a balanced way so that you're not putting any extra pressure to the local municipalities.
Okay.
Let us say you have a huge campus of 50 or 100 acres. You are generating your own waste. That waste, if you're able to manage and recycle and reuse within your own campus for your own requirements, but let us say for a 50-acre of campus, you will anyway have a 25,000 employees coming in, going out.
Okay.
They will be generating some kind of waste. Let
Yes.
it be a food waste, let it be a sewage waste. If there are technologies and in place in-house technologies inside the campuses, which does not really throw out this waste into the system, municipal systems, and if you're able to reuse them in different ways, there are different strategies which are easily available, which if you implement, it brings down the cycle where you call it net zero. And also it comes to the water. India has a good rainfall all around the place.
Yeah.
Here, and there's a water cycle. Once you study about the water cycle, there's a lot of amount of requirement of water required for an huge campuses, and there's a lot of waste which is generated at the end.
Yes.
So if we're able to recycle the water wisely, and if you're using the waste generated and filtering it properly and reusing it, and the basic ideas which everybody knows, that the flush water, right? You don't have to. Most of the campuses, it's already being implemented where
Yeah.
you reuse those STP waters for the flush water
And even waterless
for irrigation.
urinals are being put
Yes.
into place a lot.
Also, whatever the water you are getting inside the campus as a catchment, you should not let it go out into the municipality, or you should not throw it. Either you collect it, either you recycle, or you replenish the ground levels,
Right.
or whatever. If you are in a place where there's a heavy rainfall, you can even accommodate a particular part of the campus as an in-house reservoir, which can be there, which can be storing the water inside the campus, and whenever required, you can even cut off the requirement of the external municipal water supply
Right.
once you're storing it very well. And these are not ideas which are like something coming out of anywhere.
Yeah,
We
and
have
it's
been
not
seeing
something
anywhere
very
in
expensive
India.
to also put
Yes.
out. Like rainwater harvesting has been a part of our culture for like centuries.
Yes, that's what I'm.
You look at like the oldest structures or the oldest temples or oldest houses even. People used to do that because there were no pipelines in place.
Yes.
There was no underground water usage as such. But over the times, I think we just found it easier to like dig wells and just put in bore wells. I mean, there was no other source. But now there's like supply chain and whatnot
Yes.
of water going on.
So, see, is in India, basically, these campus levels or even like a society level, it is getting implemented at very very good condition or a very good format. But this has to be taken up at a city level,
Yeah, absolutely.
where it becomes, and then it becomes a very win-win situation for India, if you see. But if you see like a small campuses, like 400 or 500 or even 100 acres campus, or even a big set like small kind of a PSU units where you have those end of society housing societies, they are able to do it. But I think that has to be taken up to a city level where we are able to measure things. And
Let's be blunt. Are most green buildings, especially in India, genuinely sustainable, or do you think they're just certificates collecting facades?
see, it is evolving. Okay, when we say that it's just a green or eyewash, it's not completely true, and it's not completely right also. Once you are trying to achieve some kind of a certification, anyway you are going through the rigorous process where you have to achieve some points, and then you have to make the building to that benchmark, which has to work. So in that process, you are almost achieving to some things, but it comes to a point where it has to be made it a mandate from the government where these some kind of design principles has to be implemented at a level. That is why
So you think it should be at a policy level?
yes, at a policy level, if you make it in writing, then it becomes more easy for people and everybody can implement it without giving it a second thought. Let us say now recent development which has come in from the housing ministry that the temperatures have to be fixed within 20 to 28. That is something really good, which I think is a very good decision by the government, where you can easily reduce the electricity needs and that overall load on the country or at the grade level. But even if you want to implement it at a personal level,
Yeah.
you can still keep the temperatures between 22 to 26.
Yeah.
if you think at your personal level, if you want to reduce your own electricity bill at your home, the
It's
best
happening in
is-
Delhi now.
Yes.
The CM announced something, and it's even Piyush Goyal was talking about it.
Yes.
Let's see how it comes across. I think they're trying to push the HVAC companies also to set the
Yes.
setting
Yeah,
at a certain
exactly.
depth
So
so that you
that is a
consume
good,
less.
yes, and that's what I'm saying. At the additional level is the, I think the 2028 is still quite large
Yeah,
range. If you set between 22 to 26,
exactly.
I think that would be much better.
I asked this question to somebody yesterday. I want to pose this to you as well because we're right on the topic there. Uh, if buildings are not performing today in our country, who do you think holds onus to it? Should I think the more responsibility lies on the builder? Does it lie on the architect? Does it lie on the government? Or does it actually lie on the people who are going to use it? Who's the biggest stakeholder in terms of responsibility there?
See, I'll tell you, in terms of whether a building is not performing to its benchmark, if you're asking me that, in that case, you cannot blame the builder or the user, because the builder is there to just do what you have been asking him to do, or the user has really no control over the building. He's just there. If everything is set in right, if there is enough light coming in, he will not switch on the lights. If the temperature is already set to ambient where he feels comfortable, he will not try to fiddle with the temperature settings. So basically, it is with the designer. The whole responsibility of a building to perform well as per required is the responsibility of the designer, where he gets it done as per envisaged. So if it is not performing, I think it's just the designer who has to be blamed.
Fair. Okay. Is IGBC lead rating system still relevant, do you think? And does India need a completely new performance-based benchmark specific to our country and even regional requirements?
See, there are already these kind of benchmark prepared by the government, which is in the ECBC. If you're aware of, there is a ECBC set of guidelines which are already there. So even if you put yourself into any kind of a category, we are doing half of the job. The certification is one part, but it has to be more driven toward the performance. Post-occupancy performance driven
Yes.
is more important than being only driven by the certificates. And there are already policies in place. And if it is implemented and it is said, if it is pushed further to be implemented at a authority level, then I think we will be able to do much better.
Yeah, but currently we are lacking that, isn't it? Would you ever call for a ban on full glass buildings in hot Indian climates? I know the answer, but yes and no, and why?
It's not a direct yes or no option. You can still have the glass. As I said, you can have a glass facade,
But you can put
where
in some
it has
features.
to be shaded very well.
Yeah.
See, having a glass facade without shading is a crime. If you are shading it very well, and if you have a glass facade, it's not a problem. If you're able to cut down the direct sunlight or the heat falling onto the glass, which is going to add up to your cooling loads, if you're able to resolve that, then there's nobody stopping you to have glass facade. The whole gap is where you do not treat the glass facade to such an extent that it is not, it is increasing your cooling loads unnecessarily.
You researched on photovoltaic integrated shading devices, right? Can you talk a little about it and how close are we to mainstreaming that technology in our buildings?
See, integrating PV panels into the shading, it was done to understand the dual purpose. Like it will do a dual purpose where it is also harvesting the solar energy and also providing you a shading. As we see from last 10-15 years, the rate of these PV panels have already come down. Yes, they are coming down as the rates are coming down, as it's getting produced everywhere in the world. The rates are going down in past 15 years. So I see it as it's going to be a very conventional and very mainstream at every level, where you are going to integrate them at whichever phases of the building is available. We're going to stick them on it to harvest the sun as much as possible, because that is going to be the near future for us. We will be having a large amount of energy storages, because you will be able to harvest the sun at the daytime, and it has to be again used in the night time, because the real energy consumption happens at the night when you switch on the lights. So you need huge storage batteries level of thing at district level or the central level, where you have to do it and you have to harness any surface which you are getting easily available to harvest the sun.
There's also research on solar panels being transparent.
Yes.
I think University of No, it was Michigan State University. I think they researched it and they
Yes,
actually came
but
out.
that is still not as a mainstream.
Yeah, of course.
But it is all going to become mainstream because you have to harvest any surface available on the earth
Correct.
which the sun is falling has to be converted into any energy as much as possible.
And pushed with policy, it can actually
Yes.
do magic. What are your go-to tools for go-to tools or performance metrics that while you design a building envelope, what are your go-to tools?
See, our benchmarks are like to every day from project to project, it keeps going up. Let us say if you are consuming 4 or 5 kilowatts per meter square or energy,
Yeah.
so that has to be again increased in such a way that you're consuming less when it comes to 3 kilowatt per square feet, or even let us say the entire KPI for the energy index for yearly average of per meter square has to be improved on daily on and project basis, because not particularly by certificate driven, but at a personal level when you're doing the projects, we want to perform better and you want to see and push your limits, whether it is just below 60 KPI or it's 50 or we can do it less than 40. Even now for the new projects coming up in the pipeline for next 2 years, we're looking whether we can get 1 kilowatt per square feet as an electric peak consumption. Is it possible? And we are thinking that it is possible, and we are trying to push it for that kind of.
You have a lot of youngsters as
Yes.
well in your firm, right? Do you think the next gen of designers is more environmentally aware, or are we still raising form first individuals and thinkers?
I think the generation, let it be the new generation or the generations who have already been here in the industry for last 20 or 30 years, everybody is aware that the future has to be more energy driven, where you are going to make buildings more efficient. Okay, and it is there everywhere. So nobody is hiding away from it, or everybody is de-learning themselves, even if they are the senior people or even the juniors. Everybody is trying to understand the importance and the requirement which has to be done, because we do not have a choice. We don't have a choice. We have to implement it in such a way that we are pushing our limits to reduce the energy consumption.
I know where you come from when you say we don't have a choice, because you're aware, you're conscious. A lot of people do this as a means to an end. For a lot of people, it's just a money making endeavor. Most of them are in the design and build business because of the kind of money it can fetch. That's where it's lacking. Also, you're an educated architect. A lot of people get into interior design without actually studying any of it. They don't know the principles. They don't know a lot of it. They're rather contractors who have hired people to design for them. But there is no soul to that firm really, because there's no principle involved. The principle is turnaround time. The principle is turnovers. The principle is making it look beautiful for Instagram. So I have a beef with that ideology and mentality, to be honest. I keep professing on the podcast also that when you choose the right designer for you, make sure that they've studied it. Make sure they know what they're talking about and they have some principles in their workplace. If you had 500 crore rupees and no client constraints, what kind of a net zero city campus would you build?
Okay, so the net zero is now moving towards carbon neutral. So that's what everybody is doing, and that is what I would do, where the entire construction, from the stage of construction till the occupancy and the lifespan of any project is around 50 years, right? From the construction till the end of 50 to 60 years, the campus has to be carbon neutral. That is the next goal for us. And if the given money, there's no money consumed or anything, then that's the dream. And that's what we are striving towards, where everything is carbon neutral, where you're not producing anything other than what you're consuming.
Okay.
Where your consumption is less and you are giving net more to the nature, like in the terms of, let us say, water cycle or waste, where you are consuming less water and your whatever is coming to your campus, you're able to put it back to the grid.
Right.
Or let us say if you're generating enough energy within the campus and you're consuming so less, and the energy which is left over, you're able to put it back to the grid.
Right.
Or some kind of a waste which you are recycling, and the amount of leftover of that recycle is still more than what you require, and you're putting back to the grid or the society, is where the dream is for any kind of a campus development, where your output of the waste and energy is not more than what you actually consume.
I was having a dialogue with an architect friend of mine. She's very big on sustainability, and to the point, like I can safely call her a crusader on it, right? I said, your generation and mine have still experienced that simplicity in the Indian design or the context of how we used to build in India. We still understand कि मिट्टी का floor कैसा होता है. We still understand cement floors are cooler. We still understand how you build cooler walls. My dadi nani used to have those houses which were sustainable in their own way.
Exactly.
Water was not being wasted. Our parents used to scold us कि कर क्या रहे हो,
Yes.
right? But what's happening now is that we are still talking about it because we've experienced it. But there is a big generation right in the middle who have not been scolded about it, who've not been told that you don't waste electricity. बिजली का बिल तेरा बाप पे करेगा क्या, कि उनको वो डायलॉग नहीं बोला है किसी. It's a softer generation. If we don't do anything about it now, I think there will be troubles later on. Of course, they're conscious because there is westernization. They do watch internet. They do get their infos out there, but it's just going to be at the cursory phase.
That's why the policy comes in.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. There's
Exactly, yeah.
I told that you do not have a setting to go below 20 degrees. And there is no setting to go beyond 28.
Yeah.
So it's already limited. That kind of implementation has to be done at every stage. Where if it is no option, then you cannot do it.
It feels like policy
Yes.
is key, in fact, in that
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
Especially for raising that conscious barrier, you need those rules in place. I
Exactly.
think this has to be done.
Yes.
Can't
There's no-
go away with it.
There's no way out.
What do you believe is India's biggest opportunity in terms of sustainability over the next decade? And what's its biggest blind spot, in your opinion?
Which biggest opportunity what India has is in terms of water cycles and the water reuse, because as we have a lot of monsoon in the country, we should not even let a single drop of water get wasted.
Okay.
And there is a good opportunity where we have implemented it at a small campus scale, which the government should implement it at the city level,
Yeah,
where we are not wasting the water, because water is going to be the next oil.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh God, yes.
Energy is water, and India has surplus of it, but that has to be wisely used, and we should not be taking
We're
it for
massively
granted.
growing.
Yes.
I think we are one of the largest consumers of anything in the world, be it content, be it materials, be it natural resources. We deplete.
Because when it
everything.
comes to energy, you always have the sun to harvest.
Yes.
But when it comes to the water, it's going to be the next thing in the world.
Yeah, it's a
so
finite
it's hard
source.
to get it, and without that, you cannot survive.
Yeah.
So as a policy for the country, we should have it in place so that we don't waste anything.
One last question to you. In one sentence, what makes a building truly perform?
Truly perform when the building is in line with the nature. If it should not go against the nature. If you are aligning yourself with the wind, sun, and the latitudes and the local environment,
Yeah.
then everything falls in place. The moment you go against it, like if you try to build a building which is in India in a hot climate, and if you it's something like it should be in somewhere in Sweden, it doesn't work. That's the simply what I can explain.
Right.
If you're building in Delhi, it should respond to Delhi climate. It should fit in with how the sun moves around Delhi, and you cannot make a building in Mumbai which aligns with something which is there in Oslo or
Absolutely.
Sweden.
And we have a region across India which varies.
The latitudes are all
Drastically,
different,
yeah.
and there's a huge opportunity for the designers. It's not something whatever you do in Bangalore can be straightforwardly implemented in Kolkata or in Delhi, because it requires different way approach towards putting it aligning with the sun and the wind and the nature. And if you're doing it right, then there is
Let's leave policy aside for a moment, right? Because I understand where the trouble is with that. But what do you think is the biggest hurdle today for us to achieve that? Because we are failing miserably, especially in bigger cities. Tier 2, Tier 3 cities still are those people who are building their own homes while standing there, while actually being conscious of the resource they have available. Because, again, that supply chain of water is not there. Exactly. So they are making the most of what they have. They source locally. The vision or dream is not as big that they want to import something from Italy or Turkey or wherever. So they are making do with what they have available there. The wood that's being used is local. Stone also is local. The sand and everything, it's local. They don't import from like larger distances. Uh, but in tier one cities, I think they're massively failing, especially in Delhi. You've grown up there, right? I live in South Delhi. I see a lot of builders doing beautiful buildings, beautiful, lush, lavish buildings. They'll build a swimming pool right in the basement because it sells for a higher price and because they can. Uh, where's the water coming from? How is it being recycled at all if it is? Uh, I don't think there is a policy in place for that individual house there. We have the National Building Code, but who lives by it? Most of them don't know it. One of the biggest policies that I've seen is that anybody can be a contractor. You don't need anyone to be a civil engineer to be a contractor. You don't need to be an architect to be a builder. So, policy aside, what do you think is the biggest hurdle in us actually achieving what we are setting out to achieve in terms of living by our principles? We all know what's sustainable. I don't think that people lack that knowledge.
See, as in awareness is something which I think there is lack of awareness among people. And you're always driven. See, you cannot go back to the cave. We have
course.
to move forward, and
Fair.
whatever we need as a luxury, people have the money to build things and they will require the luxury. But it's just the awareness among the consumers. It should be there to ask questions to the builder or to the designer. That is where you can get some kind of a balance in what you're asking for. Otherwise, as a consumer, the consumer should be aware. Like if he's asking something from the builder, let us say, or the designer, he should ask questions or like, why are you doing this? Or why is it required? Is there a better way to do this? Or can we do it in a such a way that I can get returns in 30, 40 years? Or where there is a conversation with the awareness among the consumer and the designer. Designer cannot straightforwardly implement whatever he wants. It usually comes from the consumer. So that awareness, the moment you have an awareness in the society, what everybody is reading and it is flashing on the news like breaking news, that this is something going wrong, which is already happening. So there should be more conversation between the designers and the consumer.
Have you had those tough conversations with your clients?
Yes, we always have. With
Do you
all
win
the
often?
clients. See, all the clients come with their own objective and goals for any project, right? Everybody is inclined to switch,
Okay.
change the tide. Even they are inclined to look at the why why Infosys is doing what. They want to understand how much does it cost, why can't we do this. And if you look, most of the clients, they are inclined and like they pick up some things which still falls into their pocket and they try to implement it. So in that way, everybody is wanting to do better in whatever we do on daily basis. Like let us say if some client is, as you said, there's nobody who's against it.
Yeah. We all know
Nobody
it.
wants to implement as much as that particular thing falls into their pocket, which can be implemented.
Right?
So the part is being done, but there has to be more awareness amongst everybody at all levels, where they can keep asking questions to each and everyone that is it worth doing or should be more. Is the money is not the only thing which is bogging us down. It's just the awareness. Once you have the awareness, you understand that the cost is just a part of it. Once you have a clear awareness about how the money is working, how the life cycle of a project works, how your initial capital gain, capital intense things are going to give you rewards after 10 years, for next 30, 40 years, the kind of awareness and kind of explaining things in detail from the designer to the builders, or from the builder to the builder to the designer, like questioning and debate is required to get something in between, is what
Yeah.
I feel.
I think one of the biggest elephants, let's say, which exists in this environment is the budget. I do think that's another podcast episode.
Oh, budget, I think it's part of it, but I think lack of awareness is a major.
For sure it is. For sure it is.
Once you get the awareness, then if you cut it down into pieces, then you understand that the budget or the capex is not really the big
Very
element.
interesting. I do think that this discussion is pending for you and me, maybe in the future. where we break down the budget and try to achieve something, let's say on paper first.
Sure.
It'll be a fun conversation as well. So thank you for your time. I tried to be tough, but I didn't. I don't know. I think you handled it like a champion. So you heard the man. If you have any questions, write to me at India's #1 construction podcast at gmail.com. This is the code. I am Rishabh Agarwal. We are at the Build.